Hello everyone, and welcome back. Now that you're here, we can begin the recap and discussion surrounding the penultimate chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen. It has been such a wild ride, and I'm proud to have reached the end with you all, but without further delay, let's begin the recap. The chapter begins with Megumi and Shoko visiting Sumiki's grave, explaining that they burned her body so that she can be at peace in the afterlife, eternally beautiful. Megumi receives a call as they leave the cemetery, to which he responds that he's on his way over. It's then shown to us that from within the remnants of Sukuna, there's a strange altered version of Tengen stuck in a trance, which is likely to do with Kenjaku's transfer of authority over him using the culling game rules. Tengen's survival means that the pure barriers protecting Japan from cursed spirits should be able to hold for a while, causing Gakuganji to advise Utahime and Nita to take things slow and enjoy their youth, as he's going to handle the barrier situation himself, possibly using Yaga's cursed corpse formula somehow in the process. Meanwhile, Maki returns to meet with Daido and Mio, giving Daido a sword, much to his excitement. They explain that the culling game has lost its purpose, which will spark conversations about what to do with the surviving incarnated sorcerers and the vessel bodies that they stole, so they plan to blend in with the victims of the culling games peacefully. Maki recognizes that the two of them are in a difficult position due to their state of being friendly, but also still maintaining the bodies of someone that was stolen. But she then urges them to take action and do the right thing anyways, explaining that even when the culling game is completely resolved, the land will still be cursed and serve as a good hiding place for them. Their responses aren't very impressive to Maki, as they both shrug it off, with Mio saying that wrestling with curses isn't appealing to him. Maki tells them that they can do whatever they want, but that she'll only cover for them this one time, telling them to get lost already. In response, Daido claims that he'll want to fight against Maki when the time comes for his vessel to be set free, which makes Maki smile. The perspective then switches to Charles Bernard singing the praises of physical magazines, stating that the physical printing gives the opportunity for writers to receive input on the quality of their manuscripts. He then claims that everyone should experience the difficulties of having to publish their work at the same time as a seasoned writer at least once in their lives, as his friend urges him to get back to work publishing before it's too late. Continuing the pattern of resolving background characters, the scene then shifts to Takaba getting food with a man whose face is intentionally hidden, as they speak about risque and dirty jokes, and discuss their comedy career together. Despite Takaba calling this person Tori, it is very clearly someone who looks exactly like Geto, or more specifically Kenjaku, who seems to have been recreated by the comedian technique. Next is Higuruma, who seems to be absolved of the guilt from his murders in the culling games, as the Urushi clan has decided to make him a sorcerer and run him ragged with constant work. Megumi then meets with Hana and Angel, telling them that he wishes to take responsibility for her injuries and become her right hand, which Hana takes as a marriage proposal, and this flusters Megumi significantly. Meanwhile, moving towards the mystery of the chapter, a 26-year-old man named Sota Fukuzawa has been the target of harassment from some type of curse user or cursed spirit who has been making them look absurd with seemingly no violent intent. It comes to pass that it's actually his fiancée who has been cursed, as the main trio have taken up the mission in order to investigate. When the group meet the victim and his fiancée, they seem normal, and Yuji compliments his build as a pro wrestler. This causes the second last chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen to come to a close, as Megumi and Yuji deduce that this may be the work of a high-grade curse that's oddly peaceful, or a surviving awakened sorcerer from the culling games. And as the three of them resolve to take care of this problem with unshakable confidence, as they stride towards their final mission. Right away, I want to make it clear that I find this chapter to be very precisely focused on wrapping up the majority of the cast's personal plot threads, so that the final chapter can freely focus on our main set of first years, which I find to be a valuable function for the second last chapter to have, as opposed to 269, which mostly explained information that wasn't relevant to the ending of the story besides Yuta's return. The chapter takes its time to show us the fates of even barely relevant characters characters like Charles Bernard and Rin Amai, which must be nice for their small fan bases, but I don't feel like this chapter accomplished much beyond showing us that their lives are continuing as they were before the games. The beginning of this chapter does establish Tengen's strange state and the fate of his barriers, which is important information, but I find that the world building and important details of the Culling game's aftermath have mostly taken a back seat to give many characters a slight focus instead of covering any of them in real depth. The tease for Kenjaku's return and Megumi's budding relationship with Hana and Angel were the highlights of the chapter for me personally, but even those plot points feel very surface level, as we just learned that these events happen and nothing deeper than that. I have reasonable expectations for this mysterious curse or curse user to be a character we haven't seen before and set up some kind of additional side stories or potential sequels further down the line. Judging by its setup, I figure that it won't be a combative being, and I suspect that it will indeed be a cursed spirit that isn't innately evil to reflect Yuji ending the cycle of curses and giving birth to a new era, and possibly even setting up a cursed spirit to be a primary character in Gege's next work within this universe, as the editors seem to be hinting at in recent announcements. But only time will tell as we race towards the ultimate conclusion next week. I'll give this chapter a 7 out of 10, and I eagerly await the curtains closing on this instant classic manga that we've all come to know and love. Thanks for watching. I'm hyped to see you all here next week so we can begin discussing the Jujutsu Kaisen world and story in its entirety. But either way, I hope you stay safe and take it easy.